Hey everybody, Chris here. Is this one more chance to buy Dogecoin? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And we have seen Dogecoin in this consolidation phase up and down between key support and resistance levels. Show you those on the charts, but also Bitcoin kind of doing the same thing as well. We have seen both Dogecoin and Ethereum outperform Bitcoin in the month of May, as well as Q2 so far. We're going to explore more of that in the live stream. My next live stream Tuesday, I'll be starting a little bit later today. You can see I'm all dressed up. I got lots of meetings today, going to be very busy, but probably start around 4:15, 4:30, somewhere in there. So please be sure that you are subscribed. You've got your notifications on, so you know when the live is going to start. But for now, is this one more chance to buy Dogecoin? Let's get into it. Let me show you the charts of the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. We start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart, and we're right around 22 cents. That's right. We did dip down to 21.90 yet again. Yes, these little dips below 22 cents. That is short-term resistance, although 21.5 I think is more the longer-term resistance. We'll take a look at that. But as soon as Doge comes over 23 cents, it gets rejected. That's typically what we've seen. Bitcoin, though, did the same thing, 106.8, and that seems to be that short-term resistance. And then Bitcoin comes down just below 105,000. So that's 104,950 on the dip for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is kind of doing the same thing. After we see these bigger dips and then move back up into this range. And of course, for Dogecoin, again, those dips down to 21.5. We had two of those here yesterday. And so that's kind of what we're looking at overall on Doge. So that's where we start. Look, Yahoo is pointing to the stock market, pre-market. Again, I'm recording this early Tuesday morning, so the stock market hasn't opened yet, but the futures are in the red a bit. And they're calling for the S&P 500 set to snap its win streak. Doubts creep in. So little negativity there coming into the stock market. But yet they have this feature article, crypto is looking a lot less dicey amid the chaos. In the face of bond market tremors and an exit from U.S. assets, investing in more exotic holdings doesn't seem as more exotic crypto? Well, maybe, right? Some of us still see that as a risky bet, but yeah, maybe the tide is turning a little bit. We got more and more of the big like JP Morgan now saying, hey, maybe you should have some Bitcoin. Maybe you should have some crypto, right? So that is starting to happen. We've got a lot of charts to get to. Here's Trader Allen's latest on Bitcoin, essentially repeating its internal structure during the consolidation phase. We see a dip, come back up to resistance, and then look at that, a triple bottom here. Triple bottom that we had. And this was last year, kind of during the summer, that triple bottom before the preliminary move up before the bigger run. And so what did we have here? So far, the end of 2024 into 2025 saw that Bitcoin resistance line, resistance area here, actually up to its all-time high, but from 105 to 109 right there. And so what happened? Bitcoin then dips. We see this triple bottom and then moves back up to that range. Does that mean the next big move is going to be like that? I've said this many times. Allen repeats these same fractals again and again and again, and that's that big November run, which was the Trump winning the presidency, Elon, and the Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, all that led to Dogecoin going on a big run. So a lot of alts followed and keeps using that, but there's no catalyst like that right now. There's no huge catalyst like that that's going to happen here at the end of May. So I kind of doubt that a little bit. But one thing that he does show, which is a little hard to see, is just one more little dip here. One more dip below 101. on his fractal before moving higher. Is that one more chance to buy? That's where we start talking about that. Crypto Rover, of course, he's the perma-bull, right, for Bitcoin. Looking back to 2023, we've seen 3 bounces off this upward sloping support line. Are we going to revisit that one more time before the big run up? I think that's what is going to happen, and we're going to see that one more dip. Mag says, look, go back even further and look at the halvings. 2016, 2020, 2024. What's the big move? It's always come up to a top and then a sell before the bear market hits and then buy low. Again, 2021, come up to the top, sell. Now he had that sell happening in February when Bitcoin hit 64. Bitcoin recovered in November, went up to 69, but 64 to 69 is much closer. And then you buy back on the dip again. This is where I was doing my huge buying, the end of 22 into the beginning of 2023 for this move up. Is this over yet, or is that still the target? Up over $200,000 for Bitcoin. We shall see how that moves forward. But that's the big picture again of the 4-year cycles tied to the Bitcoin halvings. Will this continue to have the same effect going forward? That's a much bigger thing to talk about, which I touch on every now and then, but we'll see if there's a super cycle, extended cycle. Is there going to be another big bear? There's always bears, but is it going to be a big bear market or a smaller bear market? Like all of that stuff, we can explore that further in more videos. For now, Alan's all zoomed in. It's a 15-minute chart, and he's like, 15 minutes, right? We've got this RSI coming up. We got, this huge explosion starting to happen. So is this going to be this move up for Doge? Is this the breakout from the range? And it's like, nope, you're zoomed in too much there, Alan, at 15 minutes. We ended up touching 23 and then comes all the way back down to 22 cents, all the way back down where it was here before. So nope. But then Alan says, okay, I'll zoom out a little bit and we'll say, look, this is what we have in this resistance zone, and Dogecoin kind of bouncing up and down, but is there going to be that dip there? That one last dip, maybe below 21 cents, maybe 20.9, 20.8. He's got it at about 20.5 right there on his chart before the big move up to 40 cents. That's what I'm looking at, is there's going to be that one last capitulation, that one last dip. So are we going to get some dry powder here for not? And hey, if it's the 1st of June, right, my next paycheck, I'll have some money ready to spend. That's what I'm looking at right there. Is that what we're going to get for that one last chance to buy? Ali even says, look, Doge may want to revisit 21.3. That's right, 21.3 even for Doge. And this is Ali. And Ali is like always talking about stuff going up. And he's just like, we may want to revisit back down to that level that we saw here a few days ago, all the way back down, just one more time. So even Ali is saying a dip is coming. And here's another trader, Alan, looking at the Doge channels here from late April into early May, and then here over the past week, little over a week here. And again, looking at maybe sticking with this channel a little bit more with another dip coming that could be below 21 cents. We could be in the 20s, 20.9, 20.8 might be where that is. So we will be watching those support levels and seeing whether there is that one last chance to buy and when it comes. Master Kenobi is looking at an exit strategy once we start getting back up there. And he's not talking about this, $10 and $12 or $18 like Ali was talking before, but really talking about, when Doge does go on that next big run, which he anticipates is going to happen, with the RSI is going to come up, we're going to see this big peak, because Doge does do that again and again and again. Maybe 95 cents is the time to start taking those profits. Even though we could easily hit $1.44 and maybe even $2, it's like no guarantee that it's going to make it over $1. So why not start taking some profits at 95 cents? Big news for House of Doge. Again, incredible support from the Dogecoin community, helping Devlin DeFrancesco. The Indy 500 race is coming on Sunday, and Devlin is supporting this charity for Riley's Children's Foundation. And so far, they've raised over 100,000 Dogecoin. Next Edge Capital is in the lead at 18,000. Here, look at 21 shares. 12,000 Doge, and it's not just 12,000, it's 12,000.021. That little 21 out there for 21 shares. Yes, and they have this ETF. I'll talk about it in a minute. Overall, we're going to look at the monthly returns. Look at Doge is up 28% for the month of May, and people are like all bummed out about Dogecoin. Of course, I know we had the big February drop and the March drop. April was a little bit in the green, but back up 28%. Hey, that's pretty good, right? Bitcoin's only up like 11 or 12%. And May's Dogecoin up 28%, and we're all kind of like, ugh, that's not good enough. We want more, right? We want more. Dogecoin finds support after sharp drop. Are bulls going to regain momentum? That's the thing. And is that 22 cent going to hold here, or 21.9? Or are we going to see that, one more drop a little further? That's what we're going to be watching. Is this the bottom for Dogecoin? Again, just looking at these support levels, everyone is just predicting Doge is going to bounce somewhere. Somewhere there's going to be a bounce for Dogecoin. Again, Dogecoin with the ETF hopes, right? Could $1 be on the horizon? Is this where this is going to go? Look, SEC acknowledges the 21 shares filing. So just like we had the Grayscale Doge ETF already acknowledged, which started that 240 days for Grayscale. 21 shares is behind it now. Bitwise is in there. Rex Osprey is in there. 21 shares is the fourth. We know what the ETFs did for Bitcoin. ETH has been a little shaky, but that's because there was so much in the ETH futures, so there was big dumping there. There's not much in the Grayscale futures kitty for Grayscale yet. So when Grayscale converts from the futures to the spot, there won't be that much big selling. But there could be a lot of big buying, though. And as active addresses are up by over 500%, Dogecoin futures are up 70%. That means there's more traders that are doing long leverage trades on Dogecoin. We saw that 80% of Binance's leverage trades are now long. Of course, that means the market makers can always do these quick drops, though, and that's what I'm looking for, is that one last big drop. Maybe it's around June 1st. We'll be watching. That'd be a good time for me, because that's I'm going to be ready to buy again. Some of you are waiting for that, end of May, beginning of June time frame too. We'll see how that goes. And then, of course, is Dogecoin bound for $1? That's in all the articles. Doge to $1 is going to be big again. That's going to come. But we got to get through the rest of May. We got to get through the summer. All of those are still going to be consolidation, accumulation areas. We'll see at what levels those come at, but strong base at 21 cents, and then the selling zone, the first selling zone is going to be back at 36 cents. If the Dogecoin ETF hype drives the token price up to the supply zone, one of two things could occur. Dogecoin could flip the resistance and drive onward to higher levels, or Doge could trigger a massive selling pressure. For traders, 36 cents represents a reasonable level for profit taking, even if holders want to take Dogecoin higher. The crypto faithful are hopeful Doge ETFs profits are on another promising project. We'll be watching what happens with the Doge ETFs, of course, And then always, the House of Doge, and what the House of Doge is going to be doing, again, continuing to build Dogecoin as payment, So all of that looking great for Doge. But meanwhile, Doge is just hanging out. I know some of you are like, oh, this has got to get moving. It will. Patience, accumulation, time. Will we see that one more dip? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this? One more big dip before going up higher. That's what I'm looking at. Give the video a like if you haven't already. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.